Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in today's video, I finally got around to completing the Toto's secret factory and finally saving Mimi. And so in this video, I will show you how I solved the mini puzzles in this section. Now, if you're stuck on the Magical Forest, which is the first area, I do have a video uploaded to my channel as well. The link will be below if you need that. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So first of all, again, I was playing blind, haven't looked up any guides online or anything like that. So forgive me if my movements aren't as efficient as other people. Now, that being said, I do know that based on the first area of the Magical Forest, where I probably had to buy 5 different items, and it also clues in because you'll need 5 different key cards, which you'll find out a little bit later. You will need to save up at least 50 total medals in order to buy them all. Now, you can of course do this section by section, but in my opinion, it's actually better to do it all at once. And the reason for that is if you explore the map once, you can be guided a lot of times by the blue exclamation marks, such that, you know, with one slightly longer trip, you can finish all the different tasks at once, unlock the final fight, and then finally save Mimi. Now, of course, let me know in the comments below if you decide to do it differently or if you have some improvements that you might want to suggest to other subscribers who have not completed this yet. Now, another thing I would note is that a lot of people have asked, hey, Will, what tools would you recommend for doing both the first and the second area? And after doing this for the last couple of days, my statement is revised a little bit. So the most important thing is definitely buy this sword, at least the first one. Now, each of the tools can be upgraded an additional time, and by upgrading it the one time, so it's like 2 purchases on the same tool, your reward will be to get either a guiding light or a luring shadow. Now, I'll come back to that a little bit later because it really depends on where you find these kind of secret areas. For example, the bees that you saw in my previous video, the T-Rex that you see that you can't chase off, for example. These are kind of some of the things that you will see in your travels between 2 areas. So I have not completed them all, although I will give you one example of how I know that it is an upgrade. The second upgrade will give you a guiding light or luring shadow. So keep in mind that I did have a couple of upgrades other than the sword. I don't think you need the fan, although it does remove some poison. It doesn't remove all the miasma. So I would say either buy both or buy none if you're really worried about HP. And finally, the main thing I would say is definitely buy the Total Watch and upgrade it one time. By doing that, it will unlock the entire map for each run, just like an attraction map. And so you really, really want to do that because it actually saves you a lot of time. You'll see the sparkles, which are signified by the hands, which can help you find the total medals faster. And it'll show you the chests as well as which chests are fake, aka fighting mimics. And so highly recommend getting that first before doing all the runs that you would like. In my case, I actually saved up, and if you're wondering why it took so long to finish this section, I bought both upgrades for the watch and then went to this run. Now, other things to note is that if you know how many medals you need, if you feel more comfortable running the Magical Forest, you can get the total medals there and then come back to the secret factory when you're good and ready and have at least 50 and bought the upgrades that you want. And this one I did actually for this final run, so to speak. Excuse me. Okay. So, as you can see from the video, you have to talk to all the blue exclamation marks. And note that this is what I mean by if you have the upgraded items. There are certain items that you can interact with on both maps, and they'll be signified with the exclamation mark. And if you have both upgrades, look, you get a free item. And so I know that there'll be the other ones that I haven't solved yet, which I'll go back to over the next coming days. So back to this area, this is kind of the same area as the first area where you kind of talk to different people who have the blue exclamation marks. You can interact with them. Some of them you can get something right away provided you pay them 10 total medals. Other ones give you tasks and they tell you to do certain things within the secret factory, in which case you will now complete the task, bring it back to the people, and therefore be able to get the authentication card from them. So in this case, make sure you buy everything before going into the run. Otherwise, you will be able to warp back and forth from the factory back to the research lab, which is fine. It just wastes a little bit more time given the fact that you're not always by the warp areas, which are the 4 kind of Toto or, you know, kangaroo, shall I say, warp areas. All right, so we're just about finished buying everything. So just make sure you kind of do that here. It was actually pretty exciting to do this blind in the fact that, you know, I do like solving puzzles. Now, some of them were definitely more annoying than others. Some of the ones where you have to interact, especially for those who've done it already, there was a tapping thing that you had to do in the magical forest. I found that the most annoying because you kind of had to time it, although some people have said you just spam it and you'll eventually hit it. Now, that being said, out of the 5 tasks, the one you see here, which is finding the 3 body parts for the robot, is the most annoying, which I'll show you later on in this video as well. All right, so moving on. Now, if you're wondering how I recorded this, I actually recorded it piece by piece. However, I did it all in one large run. And so if it looks a little convoluted or not in order, that was just because I kind of stopped at all the different blue exclamation marks as I walked through my initial warp point. Now, obviously, your warp point generated will be random and you can kind of hit all the different areas in order, with the exception of finding the 3 robot parts, which, like I said, I'll show you later on in this video. That was the most annoying by far, and I'll give you a hint. Those are not marked by any exclamation marks, white or blue, and so those were a lot harder. Now, this mini game, pretty straightforward. It's kind of like, for those who've watched Squid Games, is the robot turns away from you, and it swings its sword, giving you a warning, and then it'll turn around. If it catches you moving, you're done. So it's like red light, green light, so to speak. So once I got the hang of it, and this is obviously just my second try, just tap a lot faster. As you can see, I was tapping a lot more, spamming the AF button just like I'm used to. And as soon as it swings, just make sure you stop. Obviously, you can try to rush it, but, you know, realistically, as long as you do it in a reasonable order and make sure you stop when it swings, then you won't get messed up and do it again. Because really, it's still quite a lot of tapping, as you can see here. I mean, this whole sequence still took, I don't know, maybe a minute. But if you have to do it over and over again, it kind of annoys me, right? All right, and that's it. You got the package returned. And now on another note, I found some of these mini quests kind of ridiculous. It's kind of interesting to see it, but I mean, after all, Toto Dreamland, Toto World, Theater World, and even the Sea World is, well, let's be honest, it's a little bit more fantasy, a little bit more childlike, and a little bit more different, shall we say. And I'm actually hoping that future side episodes eventually link back to Toto and kind of like Mimi and kind of explain more about their origins. Now, in this section of the video, there are 3 different people throughout the map that you have to give different food items for. If you're not sure, because remember, the bartender who gave you all the food did give you hints as to the 3 different people as to what they wanted to eat. Just ask questions and see what you have to do. So in this case, they gave a hint earlier on that one of them doesn't really matter what they want. So you just have to ask. The android said the first time, oh, I don't know if that my master wants that. Second one says, it's fine. And so in that case, hey, we gave him that and hope that was right. So that one was the tart, I believe. In the case of finding the 3 cats, they are all over the map. Now, I didn't show zoom out and actually show the master map because I assumed that you can find the 3 exclamation marks. I also assumed that your map will be the same as mine, in which case you're just going to clear all the blue ones. Since you have the DX catnip and it's not used up, you just, as you run into cats, just feed them, and you'll see that in this video. Again, as I wander through, now this is the second person we're going to be delivering food to. If you're not sure, ask all the different questions and see. So in this case, I asked the pudding, hey, that sounds like she's interested. And remember that if you haven't bought this food from the bartender yet, they actually say different things that kind of hinted ahead of time as to what they want. But once you own the tool, then they go into this interaction differently. Now, in this case, I keep on asking, and it said, oh, the pudding's plenty. And so why not give the pudding? It sounds like she wants the pudding, so give her the pudding, just like a good waiter or waitress. All right, so 2 down, 1 to go. Now, you might have noticed earlier on, I only bought 4 tools or only spent 40 Toto medals. And you're like, Will, why do I need 50? there's a reason why I said 50. First of all, obviously there's 5 key cards and you probably need 10 for each, so that's the first assumption. But there's a guy here that you have to buy a super cooling spray. And again, if you're wondering what they're used for, it'll all be made known to you as you walk through the video. And like I said, I did this in order to kind of at least give you an indication of kind of my thoughts and processes while doing this. I try to really do it all in one run as opposed to kind of clipping back and forth, obviously for many reasons. First of all, for you guys to at least see what I experienced. And secondly, honestly, it's hard to clip and organize different clips if they're all over the place. And so I just kind of did the one run through. You can see that I've already worked my way from the top left corner, which I got warped to, and I'm already halfway through because I went all the way down and now I'm working right. Now note that we did have to buy that spray, which you just saw earlier, in order to cool this area down to a 5-minute timer to look for a certain research paper or a certain item. And you pick up everything that is a blue exclamation mark, and if you pick up the wrong thing, it'll say, oh, you don't have what is being asked for. So what you're looking for is some research papers for one of the scientists, which was given to you as a task in the blue exclamation back in the research lab. There are 5 items. And oh, no, that debris that you can't clear, you'll need an upgraded tool to get that. So just remember, note to yourself where those are, and then come back when you have the upgraded tools, especially if you have all 5, then go through it one run at a time. Okay, back to the action. So pick up the container. You don't have what's being asked for, so you keep on exploring. Now, I found all 5 parts that have the different areas. I'm not sure if it's random, and so I'm assuming that it is, in which case, just find the one that says research papers, and it'll say, hey, you got it, and then you can take it out. So in this case, I wasn't sure what I was looking for. Just collect everything, and of course, we'll pick it up. And that's what you want. Research materials. You can get out of here if you want, but just for completion's sake, I'll walk through manually and find all those 5 items for you. You can see one far on the top there on the left, and then one right here. And keep in mind that just like my earlier video, when you are running the Magical Forest or this one, which is the Secret Factory, make sure you equip as many encounter down badges as possible, or if you have access to the Grasta system, you have 1 encounter down badge and you can use 2 encounter down Grasta ores to make it 3 maxed out. And if you do that, your chance of running into mobs is a lot lower, which is why this run is a lot faster. If you do fight someone, note the timer continues going down. So you either want to one-shot kill it or, just clear it as quickly as you can. So if you leave everything as much as you can and you get all 5, you notice it doesn't take that long. 1.5 minutes, plenty of time to get out. And remember that these items can be returned once you warp out and finish everything. So just again, for times, saving times, you might as well do everything and then warp back to the thing. You can duplicate that with finding the souvenir pass, which you'll also need to get the rewards, as well as the 3 sparkles, which will give you all the total medals you will want. Because let's be honest, let's not waste any runs. We want to buy all those upgraded tools as much as possible. Now, if you ask the guy this one what he wants none of what you had that were on the menu. The 4 questions pertain to the 4 items, and now since he didn't want any of the 4, we give him the 5th and last item, which is the coffee. And the coffee picked up the scientist. You notice he was a little bit grumpy and tired. Now, in this case, we are now looking for some sparkly areas. And note that this is the trickiest part that I hated. Look for the watch. You can see that when you stand here, ASGO, which is our front unit, has to wait for it to sparkle, and then you press the button to find those parts, which was really annoying. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it will not be marked on a map. It may be randomly generated, although I'm not 100% sure. The first piece was actually on the, I think, bottom right corner, and technically they are all by kind of like boxes, if you can see from the map. So hopefully that will give you an indication of what to do. Alright, so at this point, we have caught all the cats which were in the area. There are 3 of them. Just bring them back and then tap your screen as quickly as you can. Obviously, this is not ultra fast. I am using a tablet. You can either use 1 hand or 2 hands or 1 finger or 3 fingers or whatever we want to do. You only need 15, so let's be honest. You don't have to tap ultra fast, but if you want to tap faster, I'm sure you can do so. I didn't bother trying again, so let me know in the comments below if you get rewards for maybe doing 50, 100, 200, or whatever. Okay, so we have hunted down a couple of different authentication cards. And now that we're back, and note that we did clear all the areas in the secret research or secret factory. Now we're going to go back and remember all the people who we still had a blue exclamation mark. That told us that we didn't finish everything we needed, but we should have gotten everything. This one is the one that needed 3 parts, and hopefully the video explained that my video explains how to get those parts. Like I said, the metal on the arm kind of indicates where they are, and as long as it's flashing, just tap around the area. They're usually by boxes, like I showed you in the video. And for your hard work and effort, the research guy has now rebuilt the Agaterum, or whatever it's called, and it's going to reward you with yet another authentication card. So again, these are only to unlock the final fight and kind of rescue Mimi. This is not the kind of secret stuff which you'll still need to buy both upgrade tools for. All right. So there you go. We got another one more down. And so, again, just make sure you visit everything. That's the main thing I will say about this. And it is hard to kind of track everything down. However, you know, I'm sure you guys are all pros at the game, experts, able to get everything down. Now, I did talk to my son. If you get the order wrong, the manager here or the food person will tell you, oh, that guy was, wanted something else kind of thing. So, yeah, you'll have another opportunity. Just waste a little bit of time in backtracking and going back out, especially since the 3 people are kind of spread out over the entire map, and if you got them wrong, then you have to redeliver. I'm not sure if you have to deliver all or just one. And finally, one last thing to knock down. We found the research materials in the burning area with that super cool spray. And yes, he did throw a note, which is kind of lame that we had to pick that up, but here we are doing other people's menial tasks for them. Okay, so we have now gotten all 5 keys. Remember earlier we were here and we could not unlock the door? However, now we can, and Toto's voice guide does tell us to go in. If you're wondering what we get for completing all this, to my knowledge, you get absolutely nothing. That's the weird part. I finished the first section and I finished the second section. I didn't get any chronostones, any kind of awards. Not really sure what we're doing here other than the fact that we can grind out light, have a little bit of side story, and potentially with buying all those extra upgrades, get a little bit of light and shadow. Otherwise, wow, it's a lot of effort, in my opinion, to kind of finish off this side quest. Although, like I said, the fact that you do have a slightly higher chance of getting light or shadow on multiple units is not even half bad. It's just I'm just a little bit surprised that usually with this kind of side episode stuff, there's a lot more chronostones to be had. In this case, didn't feel like there was anything. So I could be totally wrong. Maybe I have missed a bunch of stuff, but no, it doesn't seem like anything. Now this boss is the synth drone. If you gotten to this point in the story where you fought like Xenodomain or other things, you'll know it's weak to fire. In this case, I have my farming team 0 MP cost, aka with Violet Lancer, as well as Flam and AS Chio. One shot with a water attack from Neptune was more than enough. It is neutral to water, so vulnerable to water, resists wind and earth, and of course weak to fire. So even if you're newer to the game, if you have like, for example, 5-star Aldo or 5-star team of fire units, I'm sure you can either AF it down or one shot or whatever you can do. Remember that this was released for chapter 44 in mind, and so even if you're relatively new to the game or if you've only done some stuff, I don't believe it should be too difficult. However, I can't say I made it harder, easier for myself. I used Super Mega, Grasta, and unfair scam units such as Flam. Anyways, hopefully that unlocks, shows you how to unlock some of the features, and I will put up a video once I buy everything. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.